Hey guys, I am here with my friend Jenn Waller, who is going to speak to us a little bit about the importance of spiritual health and really how she maintains her spiritual health, because that is a big part of living well. And so, we're going to learn. We're going to learn today. So, Jenn, what is wellness to you?
First thing that comes to mind is balance, which in my journey, it's constantly focusing and being like, I'm out of balance over here, I'm out of balance over here. So it's like always checking my family, my ministry, my spiritual life, and making sure that I am in balance. Because years ago, God made it very clear to me that my relationship with Him comes first, and then my marriage, so my husband and I's relationship, and then my children, and then my ministry. So He kind of gave me an order, and this is, could be personally for me of how He wants me to run that. So, of course, I'm human. I can get out of whack in all those areas, so I have to refocus. Okay, am I spending my alone time with God in the morning? Am I focusing, respecting, and loving my husband and giving him that attention? Mm-hmm. Am I spending the time, quality time with my kiddos? And I personally get all over that circle, and I just have to come back and ground myself.
And this is something that I work with my clients on, is actually figuring out those top 4 priorities and putting them in order. And so it's beautiful to hear you share that. I also heard you talking about being okay when it's out of whack and just making the adjustment.
Yes.
Like looking at it honestly and then adjusting when you need to.
Yep, and earlier on, we're all on this journey of learning and stuff, but I would just be like, I can't do it, it's too overwhelming, I'm always out of whack, to where I feel like matured through the journey, and as soon as I recognize it, or as soon as He brings it to my attention, I stop what I'm doing right there. And the quicker I get back into balance, the better my life is. Instead of like, it's overwhelming, I'll never be perfect. I'm right, I will never be perfect, but it's just the learning and growing, and the quicker I get back there, the better it is.
Spiritual health. What comes to mind when I say that?
Definitely the one-on-one time, and fighting for that time, because the world is so busy, especially in our jobs or ministries or whatever we're doing. Everyone's pulling at you for that time and that energy. And if I don't have just talking about it, I get goosebumps, because I have to stay plugged into the power source, which is, in my case, Jesus and God. And if I am not plugged in, I have nothing to offer anyone. School year, it's super simple for me to be in a really good routine, because I bring my daughter to the bus stop at 6:30. Then the rest of my family don't wake up till about 7:45. So I get about an hour every morning throughout the whole school year that's me and God in my prayer room. I have a prayer room that I've just dedicated to Him, and when I go in there, like, I mean business, I'm going to pray, or I'm going to sit there and just be, or I'm going to do a Bible study, or I'm going to read the Bible. That's kind of like when I'm in there, God knows that I'm one-on-one with Him. And like I said, in the summer times, I have to fight for that time.
And having that morning routine and being aware of the times when it's harder to have and honor your own routine, you know. But that time, that intentional time spent with God and connecting.
Yes.
And spiritual health is a big part of wellness to me too. But it's about that connecting.
Absolutely. That personal relationship is everything. Mm-hmm. I was raised in the church and knowing all of what I know now, but I had no personal relationship, which is why I floundered for a very long time. And then once I got that connection, it was all over, you could say. I still had a lot of work and a hard journey of becoming who I am today, but it was that connection that you're talking about that really made the difference.
So having the connection, and then, you talk about it being, it's still life, right? It's still a challenge.
Yes.
And what I see is your courage to stand when you're called. And I know it comes from making space to hear when you're called, but the next step is the courage to stand.
Yes, because usually we're only shown that very first stair on the whole staircase of whatever the calling, whatever the nudge, whatever the leading is. In my life, I get shown that very first step. So by faith, I take that baby step, and then sometimes I'm not even shown the next baby step till I'm in the midst of making the step. But then you get to walk down this journey of life after 9 years is how long I've been plugged in and serving the Lord. And after 9 years of each baby step has led to like this magnificent staircase that, is almost heavenly that I can't even describe where God has taken me, but it's all just been by a lot of blind faith.
That's exactly what's coming to mind. Like, you don't get the whole game plan when you're called. You get one bit and the courage to take that step. But what I'm hearing is that over this period of time now, I bet your faith is growing. Like, that the next step you take is you're gonna be caught,
Yes, and exactly.
So it's getting that part.
It is good. My faith muscle is getting stronger, I think, because of the miracles that I've witnessed, that I can stand here and say, this is what happened. I seen it with my own eyes. Like, I'm not just reading about it. And so that's how my faith has been growing.
Yeah, and it's beautiful to watch, by the way. It's beautiful to be able to kind of go on the journey with you, see you doing good work and doing God's work in our community. And I feel like it's growing, like, bigger than our community.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is a good thing. And I've actually had an evangelist that was in town that prayed over me and said, dude, I just see Freedom House expanding the state, like going across the whole state. And I've had Homer reach out and ask if we can open one. I've had people be like, can you come and open a Freedom House here, which I'm only one person. But I see in the future definitely expansion of the vision of Freedom House to help those across the state. And the visionary. That's what we're praying.
Yes. And then Kodiak too, right? You've been going to Kodiak.
Yeah, and I'm going here in about 3 weeks. This will be my 3rd or 4th year going. Once I went the first time not knowing anybody, God called me to go speak to these heroin addicts that had just been arrested. And because I'm in prison ministry, I can go into any jail in the state. And so, long story short, went over there, got into the jail, and then this church kind of heard about me and had me speak there. Well, now they bring me back every year, and we do kind of a conference, and I get to just share with them, which is a dream. I can't explain my life today. I could try to tell you just how awesome it is, but I can't even put to words that I wake up and get to live in the miracle that I'm living in and get to witness the things. I was just at Wildwood this morning doing an intake interview with a beautiful, beautiful soul that is hopeless, that is looking to get into Freedom House, and I get to go out there and pray with these women, these mamas that, are just like where I was 9 years ago. It was so amazing.
It's purpose. You're living with purpose. And some of the things you've already talked about, I think, are going to be so helpful to the people that watch these videos, because you're covering some of the real important basics of aligning and doing good work in the world. Yes. And it all starts with taking that time to connect.
Quiet the world. That's huge. Don't bring your phones into your quiet time. Don't bring your electronics, because you have to turn down the volume of the world so that you can get that connection.
Then taking the courage to make the first step of faith, and then the next step of faith, and prioritizing your life in a way that aligns with, really how God wants you to live.
Correct.
Okay, so now you're living with purpose, and you wake up and you have this excitement every day to do God's work in the world. And you come from a place, there was a time in your life where you didn't have purpose.
Absolutely, man. I come from a very dark place of just hopelessness. And that's the one thing I know that our community lacks is hope. And so that's what we have now that I have that connectedness, is hope and a newfound freedom. But I come from such a darkness that during my last use of drugs and alcohol, I remember thinking I was going to overdose, and in my vehicle saying, I was parked alongside the road somewhere, saying, if I died right now, no one's going to come to my funeral. Because I had no friends. I was not a friend. I had been excommunicated off of my family's property. I wasn't allowed to step foot at my parents' house. I had burnt every bridge of relationship, and just thinking me and my husband were getting a divorce. He was taking the kids. So I was thinking, that's what I thought. This is what my life has come to. I'm going to die, and no one will come to my funeral, and this is just how it is. There's nothing I can do about it.
The ultimate feeling of being alone.
Yes.
To where you're at today is, I think, is a message. So if you guys are sitting home thinking no one would miss you if you're gone, or that your life is hopeless. I think that Jenn shows us to hang on because
Yes, because those are lies. You will be missed, you will be loved. And Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans of hope, plans to prosper you, and plans for a good future." And that goes for every single person that is created, that is walking this earth. He has good plans and a good purpose and plans of hope for you. Just like he did me. He grabbed me out of that darkness. Well, I surrendered, you know. It
it's getting out of our own way.
Getting out of my own way and saying, I no longer can do anything. I was a mess. And just a surrendered heart and just saying, take the wheel. I can no longer drive my own bus, my own life.
What qualities help you stay grounded and able to do God's work?
Definitely relationships now. So I surround myself with women of like faith, like me. And so I kind of took it from the 12-step community, the hardcore 4, that I also have in my spiritual journey. So not only do I have my AA sponsors, but I have a spiritual group of women that all I have to do, I got these 4 women that if I'm going through something or if I'm getting ready to speak from somewhere, I just shoot out a text, hey, cover me in prayer. And they're just like, on it. Because every day I know we wake up and I'm in a battle because of what I've chose to do, step out of the darkness and into the light. I'm now going to be spiritual warfaring every day, but I'm not alone. That's what I do. I have to stay connected to my women that believe in the power of prayer and that will encourage and that I can call and be like, you know what? Life sucks right now. You know what? I'm going through this right now. I'm going through some health issues right now that have been really hard to walk through, but I'm not alone. Not only am I not alone, but I'm not alone because I'm surrounded by my girls that are my cheerleaders.
So having support, and you are, man, you're standing in the light every single day.
Target right here, but that's okay because the shield of faith it says will stop the flaming arrows. That yes, we will be pressed, we will go through trials, we will get hammered, but we will not be crushed. We will not be done forever because I know, you know, who holds my shield of faith up.
And I love my Bible, and it's part of my morning routine too. But isn't there a scripture about if God is for me, then who can be against me?
Yes, there is.
I love that. And I also apply it to other people. Like, if God is for them, you know?
Who can, yes.
Yeah, who can be against them too?
That's
and
right.
And God is for all of us.
Yes.
And it's so important to remember. It's empowering for myself to remember it, and it's empowering for me to remember it for others.
Yes, to stand. I call it standing in the gap for others. You know, I have loved ones that are just in the depths of their darkness, and we can say, if God is for us, if God is for her, my beloved, who can be against her, and just claim that hope for them.
Let's talk a little bit about what you're up to. I know you created and are director of the Freedom House, which is, tell us a little about that.
Freedom House is we call it a Christ-centered long-term recovery residence, which women can live with us up to 9 months as they're transitioning out of either rehabs or jails or off the streets. We have a policy they have to be clean and sober to move in, so that's why the majority of our women come from rehabs. That's kind of our key population because that's how we're set up. You know, we're not a rehab. We're not a homeless shelter.
We're not a detox.
We're not a detox. Yeah, we are kind of that after they've got maybe 30 days under them and they're just not ready to be on their own or they don't have anywhere to go. So we get to be that place of 9 months is a good chunk of time to continue the healing and the growth because they're just, you know, the fog's clearing after the first 30 days. We get to offer them encouragement, a house, hope, and we've got a beautiful home over off Shady Lane. It's a 5,000 square foot home that we completely gutted out and remodeled and made available to these women. We just had our 1-year anniversary. We opened May 1st of last year. And in that year, I have just witnessed, like I said, and it's all in my book too, but the miracles of the home opening because we've done this without any grants or any funding from the borough or the government. because we are Christ-centered, it kind of makes us not qualified for a lot of that. I had to jump off a cliff of faith saying, well, not only if we can remodel it, which was $500,000, which was a lot of money, but then there's going to be monthly bills. I'm going to have a mortgage. I'm going to have to pay the lights and the heat, and we don't have any consistent income. So it's literally, like I said, when I wake up, I get to live in the miracle. I get to live in the faith miracle too, that God is going to continue to provide for his princesses, these women that are coming in broken, and I get to watch them leave full of joy and at least have hope. Like, you know what, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. And we get to say yes. We operate on faith literally daily there.
Faith fueled.
Yes, yeah. Totally, because we have no other choice at this point.
Yeah.
So we serve a living God. It's not for Bible day stories. His miracles weren't for yesterday, they are for today. And I hope that it challenges people's faith that even are, the same belief as I do, but they think that that's for yesterday, that that's a lie of the enemy too, that it is for today. The freedom and the hope of the gospel is for today, for this community, for this generation, for such a time as this. And I've got a lot of feedback that watching, even that spider video that I thought was kind of just funny has really spurred a lot of people's faith to get up and do what they've been called to do, whatever it is. We're not all called, and that's what I like to share, we're not all called to open freedom houses. We're not all called to the same thing, because then we'd have 1 million freedom houses. We don't need that many. But we are all called.
Agreed.
You just gotta
you gotta make the time.
calling.
Yeah, you gotta get out of your way and make the time. And
And when I was called to open Freedom House, it wasn't like there was this thundering voice. There was no letters in the sky. It was a gentle nudge. Now here we are, a year later. We've housed 27 women, got to witness 26 children be reunited with their mamas, families restored, women living in freedom.
This is it's amazing. I could see why you're so excited to wake up and keep going.
Brings us to our new remodel that we're doing right now, because right now there's not one bed on the whole Kenai Peninsula for a mom with a child or with multiple children that are in transition. And going from an addict to sober is such a huge traumatic life change, and then adding these kids that you've never really been there for is so traumatic. But there's nowhere here. So long story short, we have about 1,000 square feet. We're calling it the Hope Wing. And it's completely separated from Freedom House, but it will have 2 apartments for moms with children. So we turned that, but we're in the process of remodeling to open up beds for moms with children.
There's so many ways people can help.
Yes.
Like jump on board and help with what's going on. I mean, looking for people to possibly open, help branch Freedom House out in different areas, helping with this wing. And is there anything that you need right away or?
Sheetrockers right now. Really, that remodel is going, but we're always in need of toilet paper, paper towels, laundry soap, because those are the items that Freedom House provides. Because this girl that we're moving in this week with tears in her eyes that we interviewed today, she's going to come to us with 1 sandal. She don't even have 2 shoes. She has nothing. With us not getting any grant money, that helps when the community, if you see $5 Fridays at Safeway, grab paper towels or toilet paper, drop it off, because otherwise I have to fundraise to get that money to provide those type of stuff. Kitchen garbage bags, Clorox wipes. We always need Clorox wipes. We have 7 beds at Freedom House, so usually when a cold goes through, it's there for a while. So
daily household supplies. Anytime, just pick them up and you can just drop them right off at
we
the
got
house.
a plastic bin on the front porch. You can stick them in if staff's usually there 9 to 2, Monday through Friday. So.
Okay. And then let's talk a little bit about your book, because that's a big deal.
Yes, so my book, it's called Fierce Freedom, Hope Restored, because like I mentioned, come from such a hopeless, dark pit of addiction for almost 10 years, to living in what I call fierce freedom. And that word fierce came to me when another sister walking this journey with me said, she just mentioned, Jen, I love your fierce obedience. God speaks, you jump. God speaks, you jump. And that to me is so fierce. And when she said that, I was like, ooh, I like that word. And the freedom that I'm living in today, again, it's just so fierce to me because it's such a strong, I want my words to line up with my life, and my fierce freedom is my life. And so it's really just my testimony, my journey through addiction, and then like the last 8 years of what I call kind of discipleship, that the Lord has brought me through these little things at first because he trusts us with little things, and then later in life what I've seen too gives us bigger things. And so these little mission trips I would go on just to serve, just to shovel snow. I wouldn't even get to be part of like the ministry part, and I always wanted to, and they would just be like, no, will you go shovel the sidewalk? And I'd be like, that's not why, but I would. And God was showing me, it's in this servant's heart that I'm going to shape you and mold you into who I need you to be for this Freedom House position. And so looking back, I could see that. You don't know that at the time. But so kind of through my 8 years of that, and then the last 2.5 years of kind of from the calling of Freedom House to all of the miracles, like I mentioned, it was about a $750,000 decision, and we had $800 in our bank account.
Wow.
When I signed them.
Wow.
I didn't sleep for 3 days. I couldn't eat, but I just knew that I needed to jump with this leap of faith for our beloved sisters that, you know, are hurting and are hopeless and dying on the streets. That all of those miracles of how we completed $400,000 of work in just 4 months with no income, no grants, no help. It was all just the community, businesses, churches. I think we had over 17 churches get on board and just give us love offerings and donations. And over 500 volunteers came together in the 4 months, and we opened our doors May 1st with all, you know, no debt of that. It's all paid for, done. We do have a mortgage that we carried over. Miracles.
I'm loving the word love offerings.
Yes.
That I'm carrying with me from today.
Yes.
The love offering. Yeah. Yeah, so amazing work. And your book kind of highlights the journey for
Yes.
you. And pretty incredible. I'm excited to read it.
Yes.
So might be on the book club, ladies.
Might be.
Yeah. What is one change you want to see in the world?
Families restored, because I know that the nucleus of every community is a family, and seeing my family completely restored is so powerful. That the enemy totally had us defeated, divorce papers, we were done. And even though it's hard work and it's gut wrenching at sometimes, when we became restored, we became stronger and more powerful than we were even before as a marriage and as families. So
Thank you for coming and visiting with me today. And